forget, Charlie Kirk was murdered. The president...
Not by a left-wing extremist. That person espoused very right-wing extremists.
Up first, we're going to discuss an interesting clip from CNN Newsnight, hosted by Abby Phillip, which is really probably the only show on CNN that holds any interest for me, because it's one where they actually have debates and panels, and they're chaotic, and they're often, not super substantive and can get derailed into gimmicks and ad hominem, and it can be like the whole table ganging up against Scott Jennings, but they are definitely interesting because there's not many times or many instances in modern media where you actually get prominent figures from left-wing media and right-wing media in the same room discussing things. And it can be a very revealing thing at times. I've done the show a couple of times. Maybe I'll do it again sometime. I don't know. But it can be revealing. And I thought this clip where they were discussing Charlie Kirk, he had come up, and Tiffany Cross, who was an MSNBC anchor, but is now just an independent left-wing journalist and a regular guest on CNN, spread a bizarre lie about Charlie Kirk and his killing that is really revealing about what happens when you inhabit an echo chamber. Listen to this.
I take your point, and I accept the data. I'm not saying it's exactly 50-50 equal, but let's also not forget, Charlie Kirk was murdered. The president...
Not by a left-wing extremist. That person espoused very right-wing extremists.
Look, if you look at the targets, if you look at people in office, there's...
The right attacks the right.
People on, but there's Josh Shapiro, there's Melissa Horton, now there's Ilhan Omar on this side, there's Donald Trump on this side, there's Charlie Kirk on this side.
But you're saying that, but those
I'm not saying it's exactly mathematically equal.
But it's not even analogous.
Take your data.
It's not even analogous.
The rhetoric on both sides.
The fact that there was an assassination attempt on the
It's not disingenuous. That is BS. And even the attacks that you're referencing, Ellie, those were right-wing people. Like, give me the example.
Wow. Just wow. That nobody fact-checked this claim or pushed back. The idea that Charlie Kirk's killer was MAGA or was right-wing or was a groyp or any of that. But also more broadly, this is the conversation about political violence that they're talking about in America, which is a real problem, and it's on the rise, and sentiment for it, support for it is increasing in both the Democratic and Republican base. And I think it's wrong across the board, and we all need to call it out. But sometimes they'll do something. Some progressives will try to claim it's almost all right-wing violence. And there's a couple studies they cite that I think don't fully capture the extent. But even those studies show that as of very recently, it's been a lot more targeting right-wing people with political violence, just that historically it is more targeting left-wing people. I really don't care, honestly, because I think it's all wrong and evil and awful and should all stop. But that's kind of like a nitpicking they do. But then, of course, this other CNN guest who pointed out, Charlie Kirk was just killed, a prominent conservative activist, and he was specifically killed for his conservative views. Tiffany Cross goes and just blatantly lies about his killer and says he was MAGA. No. Tyler Robinson was somebody who killed Charlie Kirk because he hated Charlie Kirk's views on trans issues and thought that Charlie Kirk was a bigot and was hateful. That is very much a left-wing motivation. And it is true that because of a couple of the memes that were put on shell casings and other things, that there was initially some speculation that his killer may have been a Nick Fuentes, groyper, incel troll, and Charlie had beefed with those people in the past, so it wasn't beyond the realm of possibility, but that became, in certain left-wing echo chambers, just like gospel that was then never questioned or updated, even as so many facts, including an indictment, an active court case, came out that totally eviscerated that narrative and eviscerated that suggestion. I mean, for example, there's a very prominent left-wing writer on Substack, Heather Cox Richardson, I believe her name is, and I covered this on the show at the time, but she, I think weeks later, was still saying this, even after we knew this was not the case. It just didn't get through to some of these people. Now, I'm going to bring up some of the receipts that just absolutely embarrassed this woman, Tiffany Cross, who should really issue a correction, but as far as I could find, has not, and I don't think CNN did either on air. Anyway, but first, though, guys, do make sure to subscribe if you aren't yet. Do hit the like button while you're at it, and please consider becoming a channel member to support my content. I call out BS on the left and the right and give an honest, independent political perspective. That's hard to find these days because the easiest way to be massively successful on YouTube and make tons of money and get millions of subs is to simply pander to the left or right exclusively, but I try to do it differently, so I do need support from viewers like you. Thank you to the over 350 of you who have signed up as channel members. If you go ahead and do that, you'll unlock early access to ad-free, full-length episodes, no annoying YouTube mid-rolls, interrupting me mid-sentence when you just want to hear more of my luscious voice. So go ahead, hit the join button, or check out the link in the pinned comment or the description to go ahead and become a channel member. And thank you so much to all of you who have signed up. So anyway, back to Tiffany Cross here, the CNN guest who pushed this like very bizarre and totally wrong claim to not enough pushback or fact checking. Well, let's look at what BBC reports about the roommate of, about the shooter of Charlie Kirk and his supposed MAGA beliefs, or it's all just MAGA killing MAGA, as Tiffany Cross seemed to put it. BBC writes, the roommate of the suspect in the killing of Charlie Kirk had one question: why? I had enough of his hatred, Tyler Robinson wrote back. Some hate can't be negotiated out. More from BBC. Prosecutors also gave further details that could point to a possible motive, although there is still much that is not known. According to an indictment, Robinson's mother told police that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and left-wing and more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. And in family conversations before the shooting, Robinson allegedly accused Kirk of spreading hate. Prosecutors say Robinson left a message for his roommate, quote, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. So these are all details that we've known for many months now, and all of it is laid out in the indictment. Yet, you still have left-wing commentators and journalists and millions of people on the internet, by the way. You go to any post about this and the comment section will still be filled with people insisting that Charlie Kirk's killer was MAGA. And so I think this is a problem, not just because it gets the facts of this one situation wrong. And obviously, you know, if you want to stop violence, you've got to be honest about what's happening and what isn't happening. And so when people are just totally misunderstanding a situation, that's a serious problem, especially for, I mean, an everyday person making a mistake or falling for fake news is one thing, but a professional trained journalist and media industry star, yeah, that's not actually good or okay. But the reason this struck me, and it really struck me, is because it goes to something broader. How simply what happens is now that we inhabit such echo chambers, most people, not really viewers of this channel because we are not an echo chamber, but people who exclusively run in MSNBC circles or exclusively run in Fox News circles or get all their news and information from MAGA podcasts or all their news and information from woke influencers. You literally construct an alternative reality and for yourself, and certain facts or updates just never come through. And I think that's what we witnessed with Tiffany Cross, who surely reads the news and follows events closely, but the news never got through to her, and she never corrected this because she must inhabit that severe of an echo chamber. And it's not like that only ever happens to left-wing people. That happens to right-wing people all the time, where they think something that's not true, but everyone just keeps repeating it over and over and over again. And then you all just kind of adopt it as gospel and move along. But it's a serious problem, and I'm really not sure what we do about it other than try to promote and dialogues and conversations and keep talking to each other instead of hating each other or shooting each other and trying to really understand what people believe. And I guess promoting news sources that both sides can trust. But it's like when we lose our common and shared reality and set of facts and understanding, that's a problem that like we literally can't continue to coexist and govern each other through a system of like a democratically representative government and hash out our differences when we don't even agree with we don't even agree on what is happening, let alone what we think about it. Right? But we don't even agree what is and is not happening. I'm really concerned that we're headed that way more and more as a country. And I thought that this moment on CNN was kind of a microcosm of it. But what do you guys think? Definitely let me know in the comments. And make sure to subscribe to the like button to support my content. And do consider becoming a channel member.